Hello, dear friends. Not even the galactics have a crystal ball to see the future with certainty, but are considering four possibilities at this moment. The goal is clear, but the means not so much. And that doesn't take away my concern about the escalation of the conflict in the Middle East. Opinion piece. Four future scenarios. Alert next week. Gold and oil prices rise. We are very close to the end. There are many paths to freedom. Secret meeting of the BRICS countries. The truth will be revealed in any case. Let's start. Hakan has described four likely future scenarios, and they have spent a lot of time discussing which is roughly the best or worst case scenario. It is also very likely that there will be a solar flare in the near future, or that we will be liberated by the Grey Hats or by the Galactics, and then a 5D society will be quickly built. But in any case, it will be a bright future for sure. The energy in the world is very intense, and life is very difficult right now. But please hold on. It is not yet the complete intervention, but things are moving forward, and the special forces are carrying out certain secret actions, while we continue to speculate because we do not see what is happening. Some flash. First possibility. There would be a solar flare or split of the timelines in the short term, and possibly also a big movement of the Grey Hats or an intervention of the Galactics. Due to the solar flare, everyone could be pushed to 5D or perish. Or similarly, there would be a division of timelines, and some people would live in a 5D society, and some people would live in a 3D society. In any case, after the solar flare or the split of the timelines, we would quickly live in a 5D society. Remember that 4D is the relatively brief bridge of consciousness between 3D and 5D. 4D, people usually know something is wrong and are looking for answers, but they don't quite know what is true and are dealing with a lot of old pain and illusions, and possibly an integrated ego. A solar flare would push 3D people straight into 5D because it would be the all darkness ends now scenario, and 4D people can still harm others. Human intervention. Second possibility. The Grey Hats would liberate the Earth, and because of that, the Source would decide not to do the solar flare in the near future, because that would kill a lot of people. The solar flare could occur a little later, or there may never be a solar flare, and people just evolve to 5D naturally. In this case, most people would still be 3D initially, because there would be no solar flare to instantly turn them into 5D. However, the influential people in our world would have learned the lesson of freedom, because they themselves liberated the Earth. Because of that, there would most likely be no instability, and 5D society based on love would most likely be quickly built. 3D people would evolve to 4D and then to 5D relatively quickly, because they would live in a 5D society and life would become very pleasant. Galactic intervention. Third possibility. The Grey Hats would not free the Earth, but the Galactics would intervene very close to the end to free the Earth. And that is why the Source would decide not to have a solar flare in the short term. In this scenario, the people of Earth would listen to the suggestion of living together in peace and freedom. This scenario would play out more or less like the previous one. A 5D society would be built quickly, and 3D humans would quickly evolve into 5D. Fourth possibility. This scenario would start the same as the previous one, but humankind wouldn't listen to the Galactic's suggestion to live together in peace and freedom. This would be an unlikely and unfortunate scenario. In this case, most people would be 3D, and also society would be 3D for some time. In the worst case, there could be 100 years of instability, including more wars. If they insisted on fighting a war, the Galactics would advise against it and would try to offer everyone what they need to live with without having to go to war, but would not stop them from fighting each other physically. You would expect the people to simply refuse to fight any more wars, even if their leaders try to start more conflicts. Even in this dire scenario, society and humans would eventually become 4D and then 5D due to the galactic presence and rising energies. But in a particularly bad outcome, it could be a century before today's people would have evolved from 3D to 4D to 5D. This last scenario would not be very likely because it would mean that the grey hats would have to stop taking action. The source would decide not to have a solar flare anytime soon. The people would not listen to the suggestion of living together in peace, and another stroke of bad luck would be necessary so that the instability would last 100 years. Improvement. Even in this particularly bad 100 years of instability scenario, life for the average person on Earth will still be substantially better than it is now. The dark controllers would be removed, and even in the unfortunate outcome where they were replaced by grey people, they would not be as bad as before. Additionally, suppressed technologies would be released, making our lives much easier. The truth would be revealed and revelation would occur. The galaxies would be working among us and would be available to offer their help. Even in the unlikely event that there were 100 years of instability, the galactics would be on Earth and we could spend time with them. They would also allow those with a relatively high level of consciousness to go on vacation to their worlds, or even permanently emigrate to their worlds. Most people who received that message could reach this required level of consciousness relatively quickly, especially if they accepted the galactic offer of healing and the spiritual teaching. Emigration. According to Hakam, in quotes, it would be an enrichment for our society if missionaries of light visited us or lived among us. We just want to prevent billions of 3D people from suddenly migrating into our nice and pleasant worlds, because that would disrupt both of our worlds and the Earth too much. He adds that, in quotes, we do not intend to suddenly depopulate the Earth through mass immigration. Instead of depopulating it, we would prefer to uplift human beings and society so that the Earth also becomes a wonderful place to live. Earth also offers more opportunity for 3D people to learn 3D lessons, which would be yet another argument for 3D people to remain on Earth until they have increased their level of consciousness a bit. But doing so would be easier once everyone was released and available to offer help, healing, and teaching. A relatively small group of people with a high enough level of consciousness would be absolutely welcome in our world, he says. And for those who do not yet have this level of consciousness, you could visit us on Earth, and it will probably be a very good experience as well. Another path would be individual ascension. You can also continue to increase your level of awareness, and new options will open up to you. You can leave your body and begin another existence, or you can stay in your body and gain what you would consider miraculous powers and deep peace of mind and joy. Of course, you can also ascend today, but this will be easier once humankind is freed and the galaxies are physically present in the world. Furthermore, you can technically liberate the Earth in no time, even without the intervention of the Grey Hats or the Galactics. You are much more powerful than you think now. Still, we understand that this is true in theory, but difficult in practice, because right now there are many things that weigh you down and prevent you from flying. At the same time, you have kept the light in your world, and that is making the lives of your fellow human beings easier. And it also means that your liberation will come faster than it would otherwise. From the galactic point of view, the missions of light are performing excellently. Even in the worst case scenario, where the 3D people would continue in power for a time, you personally do not need to be chained to the 3D people. You would have other options: hang out with the galactics on Earth, move to their worlds, ascend, or simply meet up with another 5D Earth humans. You won't have to wait for 3D people to get their act together, and even 3D people will have much less painful lives than today, even in the worst case scenario of 100 years of instability. Reset news. We are very close to the end according to Benjamin Fulford. I have been told to be on high alert next week. It could be anything. The world is facing the most dangerous time in decades, according to JP Morgan. The next 12 months will be the most explosive in history, according to Sorjafal. Russia tells the UN that the Ukrainian counteroffensive can now be considered over. Economy. Gold price rises in Shanghai, supporting global rally. Oil prices rises 4% as geopolitical tension fuels fear of supply disruption. Iran's rapprochement with Sudan gives control of access to the Red Sea and Suez Canal to the BRICS nations. 80% of international trade takes place on water. Watch the water. Much attention to the events in the Strait of Hormuz. This is a bottleneck for almost 20% of the world's oil. The Spanish economy risks growing only around 1% in 2024. The IMF teaches central banks how to manage inflation expectations. The IMF says that the wake tail of banks in recession could have difficulties. Recession. According to Goldilocks, the global economy is entering a recession, and this change will generate new values in long-dormant assets. Gold does very well in a recession. It will serve as a bridge between this economy and the next. When everything calms down, price correlations will begin to form in the currency markets that include gold and silver as money. This is when monetary interventions take place. Roadmap. The G20 nations accept the regulatory roadmap proposed by the IMF document for the supervision of cryptocurrencies. The review of the implementation status of the proposed measures is expected to be scheduled for the end of 2025. We will be in the evaluation period until 2025, but the green light has been given to move forward with the new economy within a trading system based on digital assets. As we end the testing period of Protocol 20 this month, let's hope that banks and exchanges will coordinate new prices in each sector of the market. We are still in the testing phase of Protocol 20. At the end of the month, there will be a vote to move forward with the integration of quantum technologies. Smart contracts will be activated around the world to protect both parties to a transaction in electronic form. BRICS Club. The BRICS lay the foundation for an alternative financial system according to Awaken 3D. The global fiat currency system is approaching a critical crossroads. Behind closed doors in the little-known Valdai Club, the BRICS countries are charting a path to world financial autonomy, which has received minimal attention from Western media. BRICS nations are secretly forging a path to financial independence at the Valdai Club behind the scenes. The Valdai Club, named after Lake Valdai, has been meeting since 2004 and provides a haven for the world's intellectual elites to deliberate on vital geopolitical issues. This low-key club has managed to stay under the radar of the Western media, making it the perfect place for under-the-radar discussions about alternative financial systems. Central to the Valdai Club discussions was the motion of just multipolarity. The BRICS nations are determined to counter Western-dominated institutions such as the IMF and World Bank by advocating for a more equitable global financial system. However, these efforts face formidable resistance. The main obstacle remains in the resistance encountered by the BRICS central banks themselves. Formidable challenges arise due to the technical complexity of establishing an alternative financial system, including a new currency, governance structure, and international banking protocols. The Baltic Club discussions shed light on the concept of the shared BRICS currency, potentially called R5 or R5 Plus. This new currency could begin as unit of account, initially based on a basket of BRICS currencies, and later backed by bonds guaranteed by member countries. As the global fiat currency system approaches a moment of reckoning, the BRIC nations, meeting clandestinely in the Baltic Club, are quietly laying the foundation for an alternative financial system. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.